Happy Tuesday. Just had a lot on my heart this morning when I was out for my walk, and if it hadn't been like 23 degrees or whatever it was cold. I might have taken my gloves off and did a live, but I just couldn't do it. I was trying really hard to get out there and do a live because something's been on my heart. And today, do you ever wake up and you just are full of emotion and you're not really sure where all the feels are coming from or what's going on? And I know Neil and I put our tree up the other day, and earlier than ever that we've done, and kind of stirred some emotions this morning when I was sitting here at this tree and just taking in the beauty and sitting in my thoughts. And sometimes that can be good and sometimes it can be full of feels. Holidays are hard, and they've been hard for me most of my adult life because my family always lived over 2,000 miles away, and getting together at holidays when you have a retail business is nearly impossible. And always sacrificed that. It was something that I look back and have a little, no regrets because we did what we knew. But I look back and I go, I wonder if things could have been different. But every year at the holidays, I would see all these families together, and I always knew I was missing out on mine. We always spent time with Neil's family, so I had family, just not the way I, in my mind, envisioned or thought it was going to look like. So it looked different, and taking that in. And as we go into this year, 2020 is full of so much new kinds of sad things, right? Maybe you lost a job. Maybe you don't have the ability to do what you would do for your family like you would. And maybe there's grief in that. Maybe you're going through something, illness, divorce, another kind of trial, and you're feeling a lot of in this season. I'm just processing a lot of grief in the people that aren't with me anymore and how much I miss them, especially at the holidays. And we're coming upon an anniversary of Neil's mom's passing, and just comes with a lot of feels. And I'm sitting with these feels and holding them in and trying to breathe through and process. And isn't it interesting how grief never really goes away, but we keep processing through it from a different perspective or a different place, and each year it's in a different place. We're not in the same place that we were a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and every year there might be something else that we're grieving or missing in our life, right? And when you add COVID and you add isolation to this equation, there's a lot of feels. There's a lot of people that are lonely, and maybe you're grieving for those grandpas and grandmas that you know and love that are in nursing homes and needing care and not being able to hug and just be close like you might have in the past. And that's a process. It's a grieving process we need to go through. Maybe you're not able to be with your family for the first time ever, and you're feeling it. This morning I was sitting with my 40 days to a joy-filled life, and I'm working through this. I'm working through this journey, and I was on day 35 today. God will be cheering. And he talked in this book about finding the joy, and he was talking about Christmas morning, and he talked about Christmas morning when in a large family all the things that would go on, and he talked about when you have 9 children and their married partners and their kids, and you're all opening gifts and you put everything in the garbage, and then later on in the day you realize something is missing And now that garbage has gotten compiled with the food of the day, or maybe a couple soiled diapers or whatever. So you don on your gloves and you dig through the trash to find those things. And it was so powerful to me. I thought, he's talking about those things that we do when we're in family, but he was talking about those things are gifts. Those things are maybe in the season of the distraction and the grief and the disappointments or what we're going through, that we're actually not noticing that we're missing on something that's really going to be vital or important. And he talked about, some of those things that are worth digging in the trash for later. And it just meant a lot to me, because he said, what are we missing right now because we're distracted or otherwise caught off guard in the season of melancholy and distraction, disruption, broken, grief, and we're going to wake up in a month or two and go, oh, what happened? Where's that? I know, and we're going to be looking for something. Maybe it's a relationship in your life. Maybe it's someone who needs you, but we're so caught in our own poo that we're not seeing each other. And I was thinking about that today. Are we seeing each other? We've all been called here for a purpose, and I believe that. And today I read this, and it was so powerful. I'm going to read it to you because it's how I believe. And it's like this guy just was speaking my words and in my heart. But he said, I believe that God's will for you is something wonderful and glorious, far better than anything that you could have ever sit down and designed for yourself. Nothing quite supercharges your potential for joy like living in sync with God's purpose for your life. I see you. I see you in your grief, in your pain, in this season. It's a hard walk. And then you add isolation and maybe loneliness and maybe tough finances, maybe feeling despair, alone, lonely. Walking through a season when we're supposed to be filled with joy. And sometimes it's hard. It's hard to know how to find joy in a season that feels so dark. But today I want to remind you that we're in Advent, and it is a season to come within your soul, and to be remembering that joy is part of this journey. We're supposed to have joy. How do you have joy and sorrow and grief? It's a choice. It's a choice to treasure the life that you've been given, cherish the memories, and hang on. And remember that in a month or two, you're going to be looking for something that's missing, something that was lost in this season because we got caught up in the muck. If you're in a place where you need help, you need someone to talk to, it's time to take care of yourself, your soul. Soul care is going to be vital for moving forward in your life, to finding joy in the journey, taking and finding time to work on your inner self, however you do it. It's spiritual for me, but however you do it, if you need a counselor to work through things, may I ask and encourage you Don't get stuck in the muck. In a season that is full of joy, that walks alongside of the grief and the muck. Don't lose the treasures of today, getting stuck in the distractions and the anxieties and the pain of today. You might have to look more intentionally, but there's so many gifts in this season. But it's going to take more intentional awareness of being present in your life where you are. That was my tip for Tuesday. Soul care. Taking time. I cried a lot this morning in my grief. But they weren't all just sadness. It was about a life well loved. And just a really awesome memory in my heart that, whoa, that's going to bring emotion. But that means that there's a life well loved to have that emotion about. So we got to live today fully present, alive, and engaged in your purpose. Bring light in life. You have it in you. Someone needs your light to shine into them today. That's how I'm finding to fill that place of pain, is to shine my light brightly for others. And it fills me right up. Hope it does you too. Take care.